Good morning. This is Joe Forward, legal writer for the State Bar of Wisconsin. And this morning we're talking about the business courts, the commercial dockets in Wisconsin. And I have three guests joining me today to talk about that. We have Marinette County Circuit Court Judge James Morrison. Judge Morrison, how you doing this morning?
Great. How are you?
Great. Thanks, Judge. Also joining us is Laura Brenner. She's a business litigator at Reinhardt Berner Van Duren in Milwaukee. Laura, how you doing?
Real well, thank you.
And we have Waukesha County Circuit Court Judge Michael Abrahamian. Judge, how are you?
Excellent. How about you?
Great. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining us today. The business courts started as a pilot project, I believe, in 2017, and we're 4 years into it. It's expanded a little bit, and we just want to get an update on what's going on in the business courts, how things are going, what the challenges are. So, Judge Morrison, I'll just start with you. Can you give us a little background on the business court pilot project and where we are right now in terms of participating counties?
Okay, the pilot project was started at the desire and instance of Chief Justice Rogensack at about 2016. She set up a task force, tried to see if it was feasible to do a court. And the purpose of the court is not to favor business. The purpose of the court is to get business disputes that often have wide implications to people, employees, customers, other investors, other businesses, to get those cases quickly resolved because there's such an economic and personal impact when they're not. So that's the theory of the court. It's often misunderstood that it's something to help business. That isn't true at all. It's a specialty court like drug courts, mental health courts, OWI courts, family court, criminal court. But the difference is that most judges do not have a lot of business law experience. So the pilot project understands that and tries to appoint, and the courts, the chief justices have appointed judges who have specific experience and appreciate kind of the fallout effects of business disputes. The fact that so many people can be hurt if these disputes are not resolved and resolved quickly. Speed is really an issue here. So that's basically the concept. The Supreme Court started with a pilot project that included Waukesha County and District 8. And then about a year or so ago, just about the time COVID hit, the Supreme Court agreed with the steering committee, on which the three of us are members, to expand this to include Racine, Kenosha, and Walworth, Dane, and all of District 10. Also, the rule has been changed to allow business disputes from anywhere to come into the court if a petition is made and there's space available on the docket. That's basically how the court operates. We've had about 100 cases through the court so far. We've got exact stats that we can forward to you. And we get really high marks from the lawyers involved. And Laura can talk about that the judges get to these cases quickly, get results, and move forward. And I think in business, it's fair that a result is often more important than a perfect result. A result today is a whole lot better than a perfect result 4 months from now. So that's basically the concept. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah. Okay. And so, Judge Abrahamian, and how is the business docket going in Waukesha County, and what are some of the challenges? Because I think what you've mentioned as one of the challenges is that the attorneys have to designate the case as for the business docket, the business court docket, and they may not be aware of it. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in Waukesha County.
Sure. It's going well in Waukesha. There are 3 judges who are assigned by the chief to hear those commercial court cases. I am one of them. Judge Boren, Michael Boren is another, and Judge William Domina is the other. And we share an equal caseload of those commercial court cases. The difficulty has been that the attorneys aren't aware, or should be more aware, of the commercial court docket and the filing requirements for getting into the commercial court. There are a category of cases that are mandatorily assigned, so it's not discretionary, they're mandatorily assigned to the commercial court. And if they're not designated as such, sometimes just because of past practices, they'll get assigned as just to be a regular civil case, as opposed to being designated into the commercial court, despite our best efforts to get the word out to the bar, despite our best efforts to get the word out to the clerks, and to have certain case code designations to make it very clear that these are cases that go to the commercial court. Through additional training, the clerks have been able to spot cases that are commercial court cases that are assigned to the commercial court and redesignated. But that's been a challenge, and I think it's been more of a challenge even since COVID hit. And our numbers just recently have been relatively low.
Okay. Okay. And Laura, you know, as a business litigator, and I know you've had some cases in the business courts, you know, what is the real benefit of having those cases in the business court?
Just like Judge Morrison mentioned for other specialty courts like criminal courts and family courts, it's great to have judges that are committed to sort of already being aware of the types of issues that arise in business courts, the kinds of challenges, especially with wide scale discovery and sometimes the temporary restraining orders and temporary injunctions that are needed. And so the judges in the business courts are committed to having a basic knowledge of the types of issues that arise in business cases, and that helps move things forward quickly. It helps save everybody money. This isn't just for big business, this is for small businesses too. And all kinds of businesses, especially small businesses, are benefit by having judges that are aware of these issues and know how to keep cases moving along very quickly.
Okay. And Judge Morrison, is there any other issues or tips that you would give to attorneys to ensure that they are properly designating their cases for the business court docket? I mean, what can they do to ensure that, because I think one of the issues you said is they may not just be aware that they have a business issue. So what can they do to make sure that they're properly identifying those cases for the business court?
We have, and we will send you a link to the Supreme Court website where the business court is fully discussed. All the case codes are placed there, and there's some Q&A as well, so that it's easy to see whether or not your case falls within the mandatory business court classifications. If it does, if you put the right number on the pleading, your work is done. So I think that's the easiest thing to do, is to go and look at the rule. But any lawyer who has a case with very significant dollars or that arises in the commercial context should be checking that rule to see.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Even if it's not one of the counties or districts that currently has a commercial court, with the change in the rule, a case out of Milwaukee, for example, which is not a location that currently has a designated commercial court, they could petition to have that case transferred to a commercial court judge from one of the other counties or districts.
Okay. Okay. And then,
Well, Joe, let me give you a quick example of a case that came up this last week that would be a perfect business court case and is already resolved.
sure.
I got an email and some pleadings on Friday afternoon at 4:15 saying, we have an emergency, we have a garnishment. This is a dispute between a financial institution and a payroll processing company. And we need to have a hearing because we've got 500 employees, payrolls on the line. And right now the garnishment has tied them up. I was able to give them a hearing yesterday at 11 o'clock, and at 11:15, everybody recognized that they got the wrong people involved, and the money could be released, and the payroll checks did not disappear. It's that kind of ability to do that that has impact on lots of people that are not business people. They're employees and all the employees' creditors. And the last thing employees need today, employees who are working, is to be told your money's tied up in somebody else's business dispute.
Okay, great. And then I guess lastly, where do we go from here? And I'll open this up to all three of you. I know you're on the steering committee. Where do we go from here? Do you foresee the business court docket expanding to other counties, or where are we right now?
Well, right now, it's still a pilot project. At
Okay.
some point, there's going to be evaluation done by the Supreme Court to say, do we want to keep a business court full-time? Do we want to make it a permanent part of our court structure? And I see that happening probably in the next couple of years after we have some information about how it's going. And if it does expand like that, the idea would be, or the thought would be, how is it going to be by county? Is it going to be by judicial district or some other structure? And as part of this process, we've attended lots of conferences through the Business Court Judges Association, and we've talked to other judges from other states and how they structure their business courts. And there's lots of different ways that it's being done. So we can share that information. And I know the Supreme Court has that information of varying ways that this could be a permanent structure going forward if that's the decision to do so.
We're looking for Laura to get the word out to the bar, to her colleagues, including the people in her law firm, among others. Because I think it wasn't Laura's firm, but our former
John
leader,
Rothstein.
John Rothstein's firm, had cases that were not designated to the business court, and he was the chair of the committee. So
And
obviously we have
yeah.
some missionary work to do.
I myself filed one incorrectly the first time. I didn't miss that it was a business court, but you have to get used to the going and designating it correctly. And I think the court and the administrators have made that so much more simple. So I think we just have to get used to that and used to checking out that number. We're very used to doing it for other types of specialty cases. We just haven't been. So we do have to get the word out to all of our admins for law firms about how to use the proper filing designation. That's a big one. And then the other is just to get the word out to practitioners that there's so many benefits, including written decisions by judges. So if you think you're filing, or if you just have a dispute that you haven't even filed yet, you can go and review some of the business court decisions from these judges who are encouraged to publish a lot of decisions on the website. And maybe it helps resolve disputes before they start. I mean, it's another big benefit. And this has worked really well in other states. Other states can be very well known for having very good business courts, and people have confidence in bringing the cases there. And I think it's going to be even more successful in Wisconsin in that regard. But we do have to get the word out to practitioners, to administrators. And that's our goal for this year.
Well, great. Unless anyone has anything else, I think I'll conclude here, but we'll certainly get the word out and talk about the business courts and make sure members of the bar are aware of it. And I thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.